How's it going, everyone? Today we got a story time of a Gen Alpha skibidi toilet kid who, I really don't know how to say this without my brain melting. Basically does a number 2 all over the floor. Because he doesn't want to upset skibidi toilet and do it in the toilet. I know. And as insane as that sounds, he's actually significantly worse. He's so much more brain rot and cringe than that alone. You just got to trust me and listen to this story. I know you'll be entertained. So leave a like on the video right now to claim your free nothing. Subscribe to the channel if you were new and like storytime videos. And with that being said, let's just jump right into it. Anyways, so we're going to call the subscriber who submitted this story Alex. So anyways, Alex is introducing to me this kid who we're going to call Ben. Because we always call the Gen Alpha kid Ben. This kid had always been an issue. This kid is a self-proclaimed Riz god, in quotations, hates Mr. Beast, and loves skibidi toilet. So about 6 months ago, he discovers skibidi toilet, Riz, mewing, edging, looks all like the brain rot slop the Gen Alpha is obsessed with. He found that all about 6 months ago. So 6 months ago, he was turned to the dark side. He had his Anakin Skywalker turning into Darth Vader arc in Revenge of the Sith turn to the dark side type moment 6 months ago. He was always like relatively cringe. He was always kind of known as annoying. But imagine like the most annoying guy you know, and then you basically inject him with steroids. Except these aren't steroids, this is just Gen Alpha brain rot. He's injected with brain rot. Buddy has an IV drip of brain rot going straight into his system. And now all he can say is skibidi Riz. That's all he can say now. Yeah, so this kid has always been a problem. And before I go into the absolute travesty of the doing number 2 on the floor, and much, much worse, which when you say much, much worse, no, I'm serious. It somehow gets worse. Yeah, before that, a couple months prior, he, just to really give this guy some depth, to give this character some depth to him, right? He had these friends, right? He was in a pretty big friend group, and in this friend group, there were 2 girls as well. And one day, everyone was sitting around the lunch table. It was the subscriber, Alex. It was his friend, Will, his friend, Charlie. And Ben was sitting there, too. And he was like, boys. And they were like, what's up? Because it was kind of one of those situations that at lunch, like, everyone kind of sat with everyone. The tables were big. Charlie, Alex, and Will were not necessarily friends with Ben. But they also weren't, like, mean. Like, they weren't going to just be like, oh, this kid sucks. Like, we're never going to talk to him or anything. They were like, okay, whatever. If this kid comes and talks to us, we're not going to be the worst about it and like exclude him or anything, but we're not going to go out of our way to invite him into the things we're doing because that low-key be a self-sabotage right there. But anyways, Ben's like, boys, as you guys might know, I've been perfecting my skibidi whiz recently. And I actually, to practice my whiz, I'm going on a date with 2 women's. And they're like, what? And he's like, yes, I know that I probably could have gotten a date with 6 women's, but I needed to restrain my skibidi whiz. And, sorry, this character is hard for me to do. It's so cringe. I had to restrain my skibidi whiz. And, well, I'm going to be testing my whiz. So, just so you know, I'm going on a date with 2 hot women's, and and I'm going to be practicing my whiz. And low-key, Alex is like, oh, you mean the 2 girls that, like, your friend, like, that your friends are friends with, that you're, like, hella friend-zoned? He's like, that is a false assumption. It may be the women's that I'm close with, perchance. But at the end of the day, I am going on a date to practice my skibidi whiz. So then next time, I will be on a date with 6 women's in a Lambo in Dubai. Well, you guys are just sucking eggs. And the subscriber's like, okay, buddy. Well, okay. Yeah, Alex is like, oh, well, okay, man. Like, that's badass of you, man. Yeah. You're so cool, bro. I wish I was you. No, dude. I wish I was you, man. No, definitely not. Yeah, so anyways, right, couple like the next day comes around. And obviously, Alex and his friends are like, Ben sits down at the table and Ben doesn't say anything about the date. So, I mean, low-key, that kind of implies like, like if he's not immediately bragging about it the second he sits down, it probably wasn't like the best time ever. So Alex is like, oh, yo, how did the date go? And he's like, they had widowy no whiz. It was a waste of my time. Which I'm like, they had no riz, buddy. I thought the whole point was you're practicing your quote unquote skibidi riz, bro. Like, buddy probably just picked out one of those, like, those like YouTube short brain rots where it's like the cat going like meow, 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 meow. And then it's like a sad cat animation. I've seen so many videos recently of like little babies watching that be like, oh my God, this is real and I'm sad. And that was probably his version of riz, being like, waities, I got the best entertainment for you guys. You're going to love this. Takes out like the skibidi cat videos, or I don't even know what to call them. Anyways, that's not the only example I want to give. About a month before, so one of Alex's friends, he doesn't come up again, so I don't have to give him a name, but his mom literally had like a cancer scare. Like, thankfully, it was like a false positive or something, or she was good. But when they're at the table, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing because I know it's about to come, and it's insane. They're sitting at the table, right? And Alex's friend, let's call him Will. No, I already called someone Will. Let's call him Steven. Steven's like tearfully telling the boys, and Ben just happened to be there because it was at lunch. He just snuck in there. He was like tearfully telling the boys, his mom might have like cancer or something like that. That's freaked up, bro. Like, that's bad. And there's a moment of silence after he says that. Because, dude, it's like, how do I respond? Like, I want to comfort this kid. I want to be good about it. But the silence was broken by Ben, who was like, you mean in Ohio at 3 a.m.? And everyone just turns and stares at him. Buddy really just made an really just made an only in Ohio joke after his friend was like, my mother might have cancer. Bro, what? So this is, okay, let's get into the meat of the story. I know that was long, but those are necessary mini stories to really give Ben depth. So anyways, there was a week-long school trip, meaning that they were staying over. I didn't get the details of exactly what they were doing on this week-long school trip, but that meant that they had to stay over, I think, probably at like a hotel or something. So Alex, they were 3-man suites. So basically 3 people to 1 room. So it was Alex, it was his friend Charlie, and also, unfortunately, he got paired with Ben. And when Alex and Charlie heard this, they're both like, dude, there's actually no way. There's no way our luck is that bad. Like, what did we do to the universe to be cursed with this, bro? Like, what did we do for this to be that bad? For what kind of karmic retribution are we facing right now? Did we do something in a past life? Did we like commit like a massacre or a genocide in our past life to get this punishment or something? Because like otherwise I'm not understanding why this is going on. Anyways, though, on the very first night, it starts off with a banger, guys. It starts off with a banger. By the way, though, if you want to submit your own story, because I just got this story from one of you guys who submitted it to me, all you got to do is go to Instagram, look up Connor Pugs. I got like 1.2, almost 1.3 mil, bro. My reels do really well, so I reach a lot of people on there. You got to follow me to message me. So follow me on there, and then message me your full story. Don't message me, do I want to hear a story? Trust me, I do. And I don't respond to those. I just read the ones that you send to me. Like, I don't even reply when I write your stories. You got to like tune in every night or every day or whenever these videos come out for you. Just send me the whole story. This story was sent over like 15 paragraphs. That's what I want. It's perfect. So make sure to follow me in there and then message me this story. But anyways, on the very, very first night here, it already starts off with a bang. So anyways, they're kind of choosing their beds, whatever, and then they go to sleep. And Alex wakes up in the morning. It's sunshine peers through his window. The sound of morning doves wakes him up. He wakes up, stretches his arms, goes a big inhale, start the day with, a flush of oxygen hitting your bloodstream. Except he's like, bro, he is hit by a wall of just the most foul, raw sewage type smell you've ever heard. Bro's nose was molested, bro. Like, it was, it was bad. He was like, what the hell? Oh my God. Like, he was genuinely just like, what is going on right now? And he looks on the floor, and there's this a big pile of steaming crap, bro. I don't know how else to say it. I can't say it in a more elegant, that's the only way to put it, because that's just straight up what happened. Yeah, so he's like trying not to gag, and he's looking on the floor. It's just spread out like ever. It's disgusting. So Charlie wakes up shortly later and has the same kind of gag reaction. He's like, what the hell? And they look over at the third bed. Ben is nowhere to be seen. So they're just like, immediately, they're just trying to figure out what's going on. Charlie like looks over at Alex and is like, what happened? And Alex is like, dude, I woke up like 2 minutes before you just did. I don't know, but it looks like Ben is not here. And I don't necessarily want to blame him, but I'm going to blame him because he definitely did this. And so anyways, like 10 minutes later, they're like opening up the windows. They're like creeping around, trying not to step in these landmines. You know what I mean? Like, try not to just step in and get their feet covered in all this garbage, right? So they're opening up the windows to alleviate some of the smell, trying to figure out what to do. And then Ben walks in with like a donut he got in the lobby of the hotel. He's like, hey guys, how's it going? And they're like, dude, like, what happened? He's like, what do you mean? And they're like, dude. He's like, oh, funny story. So I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, time for me to go. But I didn't want to offend Skibidi, so I didn't want to do it in the toilet. They're like, what the hell? And he's like, do you want Skibidi Toilet to be mad at you? And they're just looking at him like, wait, so you're telling me that you decided to shit everywhere except the toilet because you didn't want Skibidi Toilet to be mad at you? And he's like, precisely. What did you want me to do? And they're just like, okay, bro, we cannot live like this. He's like, okay. And they're like, dude, you need to go in the toilet or you need to go downstairs and do it. Go do it in someone else's room. It's not here. Alex is just like, I'm not dealing. Because they knew that they have like 5 more days. And they also know that it's very unlikely that he gets relocated. So if they like tell on him or make things like more difficult, at least in the eyes of Alex at that moment, basically what's going to happen is he's going to be more upset. He's going to be upset with them, make their life even more difficult, and they're just going to be stuck with him for like 4 more days. So he's like, dude, we need to call a cleaning crew. We need to figure this out. And Ben's like, dude, it's literally not that bad. No. It is literally that bad, guys. It is. Of course, Alex is like, well, no, it is actually that bad, dude. Just let's call a cleaning crew. Like, anyways, cleaning crew comes. They're like, what the hell? And they're like, dude, our friend had an accident. And the cleaning crew gives them the dirtiest look ever, which, like, by the way, like, it's super unfair. You know, if you're in the cleaning crew, you're probably not getting paid that much. You probably got crazy bad hours. It's probably not your dream job. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad job. And some people do like, they like cleaning up and they get in the motion of it. But generally, right, can I speak generally, you're doing it because you have to. So please don't make their life more difficult. I mean, like, clean up after yourself if you're in a hotel room. I hope it's implied that you don't take a massive steaming dump on the floor. I hope that's implied. But what I'm saying is, like, if you're in a hotel room just because someone's going to clean up after you, still do your best to make it as clean as possible as well. Right? Make their job easy because they probably don't want to be there either. Anyways, so that just happened. And they're able to convince him to either go in the bathroom somewhere else or just to not do that again for a little bit, which, dude, I don't even know. So the next day, they're doing some classics. Remember, this is a school trip. This isn't like a fun trip or whatever. So for some reason, there's like a kind of a little bit of a free period. And the subscriber takes out his phone and he's watching the new Mr. Beast video, right? Mr. Beast makes some very high quality content. His stuff is pretty good. Little known fact, I'm sure a lot of you guys actually don't know, and I used to tell the story on live stream back in the day, and maybe I'll make it a full story. Back in 2018, when I had like 6,000 subscribers, Mr. Beast actually called me. He told me how to do YouTube, and he said, and I'm not even kidding. Like I could tell you the story later in more detail, but he told me, and he didn't tell me any crazy secrets, right? But he essentially told me, and he's like, after that, he's like, if you don't blow up, I'll be mad. And I didn't blow up for several years later, but I'm about to hit 1 million. Subscribe if you haven't, man. That's going to help me out. Anyways, though, so sure enough, right, the subscriber's watching Mr. Beast's video, and that's when Ben comes over, because of course, Ben's going to have a problem with this. And he comes over, he's like, can you stop washing that garbage? and Alex is like, dude, what? He's like, Mr. Beast is promoting materialism. And like, to some extent, I kind of get what he's saying when Mr. Beast is like crazy cash prizes and all that kind of stuff. But like, bro, first of all, who cares? And second of all, Alex was watching like the Mr. Beast charity video. And bro was literally criticizing Mr. Beast in a charity video for being too materialistic when he was like building 1,000 wells in Africa or something. Like, dude, that is like anti-materialism. That is like the inverse of materialism, bro. Like, come on. So Alex is like, dude, what? And Ben's like, well, Ben basically was like, well, I'll let it slide this time, but I better not see that again. Ben was being more on his high horse about catching Alex watching a Mr. Beast video than Alex was to Ben when he caught him crapping all over the floor. Like, this kid is genuinely insane. So Alex is like, this might be like one of the, like, Alex is just like, I need to go back home. This is getting too crazy. Yeah, so it's becoming almost a little bit too much for Alex, but it only gets worse from here, dude. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, I want you to comment hotel down below. That'll be the secret word of the day, so comment hotel so I can see the names and faces of the people who made it this far. If you're listening to this on Spotify, which, by the way, if you're on YouTube, you can listen to this on Spotify too. If you're on Spotify, make sure you rated the podcast 5 stars and followed it. And finally, if you guys are curious to see what my life looks like the rest of my, because you guys hear a little bit of like my stories and all that kind of stuff I intertwine into these videos. But if you want to see what I'm doing every single day and like, dude, my life's kind of interesting sometimes. I mean, I run a couple social media related companies, go to college, travel around a little bit, always trying to network. Like I do a lot outside of being like a storytime YouTuber. If you want to see that and see my day to day, go on Snapchat, look up Connor Pugs, CONNORPUGS, one word. I have the verified star in there, and if you look at the stories, it's me. Make sure to add me on Snapchat because you can see the rest of my day, and you can ask me questions on there. I like responding to questions, and yeah, let's just get right back into it, though. Anyways, so Alex's friend Charlie, who he's staying with, the third man in the suite, there's been a girl that Charlie's been interested in for a while, right? Been interested into this guy for a while. And this girl for a while. And, Charlie's kind of getting a little bit of pressure to ask her out. And this is like 9th grade. So everyone's like, oh, you gotta ask a girl out, blah, blah, blah. You know how it is. Like, if you haven't been in 9th grade, then trust it is. And if you've been in 9th grade, you already know how it is, bro. You already know how it be. So he's like sitting. So Charlie is kind of like sitting there asking Alex for advice in the room. And since Ben lives there too, Ben's kind of just sitting there. And they're both kind of just like, okay, whatever, like this kid he's here, but like, what is he going to do? Mistake number 1. Actually, probably mistake number 400. But anyways, every 30 seconds or so, Ben will give like advice by saying, why don't you just skibidi whizzer? Or like, go on a date in Ohio. Like, it's just like the most annoying stuff, but they can handle him being annoying. They've dealt with much worse, as you already know. But anyways, this kid, Ben, I think he was annoyed because Alex and Charlie were just straight up ignoring him when he'd be like, only in Ohio. Like, bro, this is not funny. No one cares. Or like, you should tell her she looks like a go nugget. Like, dude, who cares? He started getting annoyed because he wasn't getting all the attention as he usually gets. So what this kid Ben decided to do As he walks out of the room. And, Charlie is like, oh, thank God. So then Alex and Charlie can kind of get into more like details or whatever. But Ben must have been mad that they were ignoring him. Yeah, so not that long after, the door opens up and like half the kids in their grade walk in, like 30 kids walk in. And Alex and Charlie look at each other and they look, and Ben's like, guys, come in. Charlie wants to ask a girl out and needs your advice. Oh, by the way, the girl's Ava. Yeah, basically spilling all of his stuff. And Charlie's like, flushes red, and Alex is like, dude, like, what are you doing? And Ben's like, I thought you needed more help and advice, so I invited everyone. And Charlie's like, dude, why? And Alex is like, bro, you know what you're doing here. And Alex starts to get mad at this point. He's like, bro, you've been a problem since day one. And I know that you're not actually trying to be helpful. I know you're trying to embarrass Charlie because we were ignoring you when you were saying all those stupid jokes. And Ben's like, oh, no, I'm just trying to be helpful. And at this point, okay. Eventually, all the kids gonna walk out because they're like, yo, we were told like Charlie wanted us here and like we were down to pull up. But like if Charlie doesn't want us here and this kid was just trolling, like we'll leave. So all the kids leave. And Ben's epic prank or whatever was a massive fail, but now all these kids know that Charlie's trying to ask out Ava, so now he's got this pressure that now he actually does need to ask her out, and because she's going to figure out sooner rather than later, so Charlie's tweaking about this, and they're sitting in bed. It's like the fourth night. They have one more day. And at this point, like, Alex is just mad. Alex is just like he's just not a happy camper right now, which I think is pretty understandable, bro. I think it's pretty understandable. And anyways, the next day they wake up and Alex gets some bad news. Something with like a family member. It wasn't like massive. It wasn't like his parents both died simultaneously or something, but it was bad news, right? Maybe his dog got a bad diagnosis or something that like didn't put him over the edge, but he was in a bad mood. And Charlie could tell, it was very apparent, Alex was not trying to talk to anyone. And Ben comes over, he's like, dude, look at this Skibidi Toilet episode. Skibidi Toilet dropped a new episode. And Alex is like, bro, I'm not in the mood right now. And Ben's like, dude, well, if you watch this new Skibidi Toilet episode, you'll probably be in a better mood because it's really good. And at this point, Alex is just sitting there. You know when someone gets so angry that they go nonverbal? You know when someone is just like so livid that they just stop speaking, bro? This is essentially what happened. And Ben's like, I don't know, Earth to Alex, there's a new Skibidi Toilet episode, and I really think you could. Alex just looks at him. And Ben's like, sorry, I just thought that you would want to see a new Skibidi Toilet episode, but I guess you want to be the worst. And then Ben like walks over, sits in his bed, intentionally turns his iPad to max volume without headphones, and starts watching the new Skibidi Toilet episode. And Alex is just sitting there, fuming, man. And he's like, Alex gets up, and he's like, I'm just going to go sit in the bathroom. I need some alone time. Goes in the bathroom, opens up the door. He's like, oh, what the hell? Opens up the door. The worst smell ever. Skibidi Toilet kid. And it could have been Charlie. He walks out. He's like, bro, who didn't flush? And Charlie just looks at Alex like, we both know who didn't flush here. And Ben's like, I did a skibidi in the toilet. And at this point, Alex is like, no. So Alex decides he's going to enact his revenge. You know those two girls in the very beginning that the skibidi kid went on like a date with or whatever? Well, this kid Ben was still like, Loki had a crush on both of them. And, they probably weren't like, they were still friendly enough with him, but Alex also knew them. So Alex walks out. And he's like, oh, what's up? Like, and he walks down to basically like their room and it's just like knocks on the door. They're kind of like, oh, what's up, Alex? How's it going? And he's like, oh, hanging out. Oh, do you want to hang out with Charlie and I? We're in our room. And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. It's kind of some downtime. So they're like, yeah, we'll pull up. So they're walking over. Alex opens the door and they walk in. And Ben is sitting on the bed. And Alex opens up the bathroom door intentionally. And he opens up. He's like, oh, dude. And he looks at Ben. He's like, Ben, oh, man, we've been telling you, you got to stop crapping in the toilet and leaving it there. Oh, this is a stinky, oh, my God. And he, like, points at the door. It's like, oh, look at this. And Ben is just, like, mortified. And they're like, oh, what the hell? Oh, my God. I have a great girl accent. I can speak girl really well, obviously. No, but they were like, oh my God, so gross. Bah. And, Alex was like, oh, Ben, like, oh, you really did a stinky one today. Like, you've been crapping up the place, for the last week. But wow, we've really been asking you to stop, buddy. But if, it's a little stinky over here. That clip of, like, the teacher going over being like, hey, buddy, it's a little stinky over here. Basically that kind of same tone of voice or whatever. And the girls are like, I think we're going to go. So they leave. And so, right, they leave. Ben's mortified. And look, this revenge doesn't make up for everything that Ben did. But those girls, I think, were on the edge of not hanging out with Ben anymore because he was, like, majorly weird. But this pushed them over the edge. And after they went home, after this trip, they just straight up stopped hanging out with Ben. The only two girls Ben could, like, say, oh, I have total riz because I hang out with girls. The only two that he could even pretend to say that, he could no longer even say. So look, was it perfect revenge that was equal and proportionate? No, because Ben went crazy, but at least Alex got a little bit of a punch back.